Hi, everyone, and welcome to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. Thank you for joining me today, and I have a surprise for you guys. We have a guest. Recently, we've been doing a series on burnout, and so we've been concentrating a lot on our awareness and a lot about how our body responds to different stressors when we're in a situation, a job or school, that we feel is the organization's problem. But we're going to reflect and see what we can do and what choices that we can make to change our perception of what burnout is. Today, speaking about burnout, we're going to go a little bit farther and take that into a safety talk. Today I have Dana Williams. I feel like calling you officer.
No, firefighter. Firefighter Dana is perfectly fine.
Okay, firefighter Dana. And she works for the San Antonio Fire Department, the education department.
That's correct, community safety education.
Okay, and she's going to go over a lot of information about an awareness of our environment, our awareness of what we may think is safe as we go into this holiday season. And as I shared with Dana a few seconds ago, we're in a season where inevitably it just seems that there's a lot of fires, literal fires in homes and situations. People are taking measures and making choices that's causing homelessness and damage. And if that's not stressful, I don't know what is. So, Dana, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your position before we get into all the meat?
Sure, absolutely.
And thank you for joining us.
Yes, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Obviously, fire education is very important, and we need to get it out to as many people as possible. As a firefighter and a paramedic, I've been with the San Antonio Fire Department for 15 years, so I've made a lot of emergencies, medical and fire. And what we talked about earlier about the holiday season, the number one day for kitchen fires is Thanksgiving, which is happening next week, right?
Wow.
Cooking fire is huge. So I'm ready to share some tips and some suggestions and things that we see on our end all the time, so that we can help people be more safe.
I was in HEB earlier, and I saw those big gallons of peanut oil.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we do. The turkey fryers. Those cause a lot of problems. Yeah, actually, the San Antonio Fire Department, and honestly, a lot of different fire departments all over the United States make videos every year that show what happens if you improperly use a turkey fire. So using too much oil or using a frozen turkey will immediately create a fire with one of those. So we want you to be educated about that. Look up the videos, look up the information, be safe with the turkey frying. And then obviously, cooking in the kitchen, lots of different safety information we can give about that. So
the kitchen is a lot of times it's a social place.
It is.
Yeah.
And one of our biggest tips is that children should never play in the kitchen. When somebody is cooking, we should never have children playing in the kitchen, running, screaming, throwing things, any of that sort of stuff, because we know for a fact that is a risk factor when it comes to knocking over hot pots and pans, or accidentally knocking over an adult who is cooking, or any of those things. So yes, we definitely don't want any children playing in the kitchen. And the less people in the kitchen, the better. I know it drives me crazy. Man, my husband's in the kitchen while I'm trying to cook. But either way, the less people we can have cooking in the kitchen, the better, because the less traffic and the less likely there is to be an accident.
And I have another question, but I'm putting it on a sticky.
Okay.
What brought you to do this your occupation of
firefighting
and education?
Oh man, okay, so first of all, I have to credit my mom.
Mm.
My mom was the first woman on the Austin Police Department in Austin,
Oh.
Texas. Her and two other women that got hired. And she really taught me to be a strong, independent woman. She gave me all of those skills, told me if I was going to do a job that was dominated by men, that I needed to do it just as good, if not better. And so I've always been around public service. My dad was also a police officer, raised in that environment, and I always knew I wanted to help people. And if anybody remembers from my generation and a little bit back, Rescue 911 was a TV show with William Shatner. He was,
Mm.
the narrator and everything. And I loved the paramedic medical aspect of first responding. And so I knew in middle school that I was going to be a paramedic. I graduated from high school, went straight to paramedic school, became a paramedic. And then as the years went on, I thought, I want to do something that's a little bit more challenging. And what is there something that's physically challenging that I can do? And firefighting was kind of the next natural path that I took. And here I am.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Wow. Well, that explains why you're so comfortable and inviting as you're speaking here, and your experience.
Well, I appreciate that.
And your experience coming from I was going to say like a police officer force household.
Yes.
As my children are coming from a military household.
Right. Yeah.
And so I understand the dynamic.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
Because,
right,
when you work shift work, it is a different type of family unit. It is. Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. So one question is, and I think we're touching on it. What's the most common fire hazards that you have seen, not only during the holiday period, because we talked about the children and in the, the media kind of plays into that scenario where everybody's in the kitchen, they have, sitting around with a glass of wine, watching a person cook. And it's unrealistic, from a fire safety point of view of what you're saying. What is the most common hazard that you have seen in the home environment?
So there are three top places in the home that we see fires. Number one, kitchen, like we were just talking about. Number two, the laundry room. And number three, the garage. So I'll explain those a little bit more.
Okay.
The kitchen, obviously for cooking reasons, we get distracted. We will leave pots and pans on the stove without paying attention. Sometimes we'll leave things in the oven because we forget or we walk away. So the oven isn't that big of a deal, to be completely honest, compared to the stovetop. And the reason being is if you have a fire in the oven, you can leave the door closed and it'll snuff itself out because it uses all the oxygen up. Now, obviously, you want to turn the heat source off, so you turn the oven off, turn the stove off. But the biggest problem is the stovetop, because then that's an open flame that has unlimited access to oxygen, and a lot of times that's distracted cooking, where we leave it for too long or we're not paying attention. Grease fires are very dangerous. We don't ever want to throw water or flour or anything like that on the grease, because it just spreads the grease that's on fire. So our recommendation is to turn the stovetop off and use the pot or pan lid and put it down on top of it to snuff it out. Fire blankets are another option that you can use. And there are some fire extinguishers that are rated for grease fires, but they're very specific and you have to buy those specific ones. The laundry room, big deal because of the laundry lint catcher. The lint trap definitely catches all the lint and can catch on fire, but then also the tubes that carry the lint out, that will also catch on fire as well. So we do recommend always cleaning your lint trap every single time you use your dryer, and once a year having those tubes blown out so that the lint gets taken out of the trap. Also the garage, because we store our chemicals in the garage. We have our gasoline in the garage. We have all sorts of dangerous chemicals that get stored there, including some heat sources like our water heaters.
Hmm.
So we have to make sure that we're storing chemicals correctly, which means away from a heat source, away from an open flame. We want to have correct containers. If we're using oil, we want to make sure that those oils are put in a like a coffee can, a metal tin with a lid on it, so
Hmm.
that they can't, if they do catch fire, then it's got an oxygen restriction on it. Those types of things. So yeah, because of those different areas, we recommend also 2 fire extinguishers in the home, one near the kitchen and laundry room, and one for in the garage.
How do you not panic?
Not panicking.
Yes,
So,
but you're cooking, or you're cooking, but you smell smoke coming from the laundry room,
mhm,
and for whatever reason you kind of brush it off, but now there's a flame.
mhm,
For you and I, we've been through training in not
correct.
panicking.
Mhm.
For the everyday family, how do they not panic?
So, muscle memory is really important. So, our biggest recommendation for that is to practice. So, you want to practice fire escape drills. You want to practice what you would do with your fire extinguisher if you have to use it. You want to go over different scenarios with the family, talk about it, say, hey, what would you do if this happened? It's very important to be prepared and to have all the things there that you need. So the fire extinguishers, the fire blankets, a fire escape plan where you and your family, some families will even draw a map of their homes and show the exits that they can use, and everybody practices it. So again, preparing, being educated and knowing what you need to do, and using that muscle memory when that emergency does happen, because we want you to know what you need to do.
Well, here's a scenario.
Okay.
It's really cold outside, and
Uh-huh.
so my heat has been turned off,
Oh no, yes.
and so I'm going to bring in my cooking element from outside and bring in the house to warm up the house. Is that a good idea?
Never a good idea to use barbecue pits. Never a good idea to use your stove. We unfortunately see that a lot where people will turn on the oven. I'm sorry, not the stove, the oven. People will
Mm.
turn on the oven and open the door to the oven so that the heat can come into the home. We do not recommend any of that. If you need a separate heating source, we recommend an electric portable space heater. And there's still some safety things that need to go along with that. That would be keeping it 3 to 5 feet away from anything that can catch on fire. That includes blankets, curtains, carpet, things like that. We want it on a stable surface. Nothing that's tilted one way or another. That way it can stay perfectly still and not accidentally get knocked over. We want to keep children and animals away from it as well, because animals and children can be a little unpredictable, right?
Right.
Somebody rings the doorbell and everybody's jumping up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we also want to make sure that they're always turned off and unplugged when you go to bed. So another option for heating elements during nighttime would be a heated blanket. A heated blanket is nice, safer to use than using a space heater that you leave on all the time. We also don't recommend any type of open flame. So no open flame candles, no open flame barbecue pit like we were talking about. Those types of things should not be inside the house.
Well, on television, just the media is such an influence
Very true.
in our environment. And,
You're right.
they have these um, these fire, at the fireplace, and it's all
Oh, you can
warm
absolutely use
and
the fireplace. Yes.
cozy. Okay, so tell us
So
about some
the
safety
fireplace,
things we
yes.
should use about the fireplace.
The reason I didn't really mention that a minute ago is because a lot of people don't have fireplaces in Texas, but but we do. I have one, but mine is a gas fireplace, right? So some people have gas fireplaces, some people have wood burning fireplaces. One of the most important things to do is always make sure you're burning the appropriate materials. So it should be a wood log or a burning wood log that you can purchase from a store. You also have to make sure that your flue is always open. So the flue on the inside of the chimney absolutely has to be completely open so that all of that toxic smoke from the burning material is going to go up and out. We don't want that coming into the home because it will absolutely hurt you. Smoke is very dangerous for you to inhale. So we want that flue opened. Also, if you're going to be using your fireplace, the chimney and the flue have to be cleaned every year. So there are chimney sweeper services that can come out and clean that for you. If it gets gunky, if there's a bird nest in there, if there's anything in there that can catch on fire, it will. So we want to make sure that that area is cleaned as well. Using a screen on your fireplace is really important too, because it keeps all of the little embers from coming out and getting on the carpet or the floor or burning someone. We don't want anybody to fall into the fireplace. So keeping that screen on there is really important as well.
And some holiday traditions, we're moving from topic to topic. So I hope you guys are okay with that. In our family, we light Hanukkah candles. Some people, I don't know if they do this or not, have the trees and with candles on it. That's
yes.
Probably. Can you talk about that? And
sure, open flame is always dangerous, which is kind of what we don't ever really recommend open flames ever. So the battery operated candles are something, the flameless candles are something that we do recommend. However, if you are dead set on lighting your candle, which you said is part of your religious ceremony, completely understandable, right? That's very important to you. We want to make sure that if you are lighting that open flame, that it is far away from anything that is flammable. Again, no curtains, no carpet. If you are going to place that on a wooden table, then we would recommend getting a glass container or a glass top that goes on top of that wooden table, so that when the candle wax does melt, or if the flame gets close to anything like that, it will not catch on fire. So a glass plate or a glass tabletop would be what we would recommend if you're going to have that open flame.
How about like aluminum foil or something to cover the table, and then
aluminum foil can work as well, because it's not going to catch on fire from the wax. But aluminum foil can't catch on fire. So that's why we don't put it in the microwave, right?
That's true.
So aluminum foil isn't as likely to catch on fire, but we would highly suggest glass. Glass is the number one suggestion.
And part about that tradition, just to let you know and to let my audience know, is that when we're lighting Hanukkah candles, we should be there. They're never supposed to be left unattended.
No, absolutely. You never leave an open flame unattended.
Enjoying the ambiance.
That's right.
And not light the candles and then go
run off.
Right.
Yes. Always. That's with any fire. That's an indoor, outdoor fire. Any fire should never be left unattended. Look at the fires in California, right? If you have a campfire that you leave unattended or you don't put out correctly, that can spread like crazy. So yeah, we don't ever want to leave any type of fire, heat source, open flame. We don't ever want to leave it unattended.
Absolutely. Now, for as mindfulness, do in your field, do you go through any kind of training about mindfulness and bringing awareness, keep yourself aware of fire hazards, like sitting here in the park, which is a really great day, I'm scanning and enjoying the temperature.
It's a great day. I mean, it's a little cloudy and we're gonna get a lot of rain, which we need, but no, it's great.
Is there any kind of training that firefighters go through to heighten your mindfulness and your awareness of any environment? Can you tell us about that?
So when we get our firefighting license, because you have to go to school, you have to get certified. Fire prevention is one of the things we learn, and so for example, just sitting here, I'm looking at all of the dead trees and limbs and leaves. These are fire hazards, right? Now, this is a natural environment, so it's not going to be messed with too much. But at home, or around somewhere that could have a potential fire source, we want to make sure that we don't have any dead shrubbery, dead grass, dead leaves. We want to keep everything clean, nice and neat. And the other training that we get too is whenever we make 911 calls, even if we make a medical call on somebody, as firefighters, while we're there have been times that The ambulance will take the patient and the firefighters will stay and install a smoke alarm because the family didn't have a smoke alarm. Or we'll talk to them about overloaded outlets. That's a big deal, right? Plugging too many things into an outlet or an extension cord into an extension cord and have all these things. You know, if we notice those fire hazards while we're in the home, we will absolutely tell the family, hey, listen, we've got a fire prevention message for you. Here's some things you can do to fix that. We're always on the lookout for that because we want to preserve people's lives and their property. Very, very important to us as firefighters. So yes, we do learn all of these things while we're in school. And then when we're out in the field working with experienced firefighters and our officers, and when I say officers, I mean like lieutenants and captains that have experience, you know, they teach us. So not only do we learn in school, but then we get what we call real world experience. And we pass that on. And we learn it and we continue to move forward with it and teach all the other firefighters that come along and continue to help people spread a fire safety message, especially in the home.
And how do you assess a situation like inside? What are you telling yourself when you come into a situation that's active fire or active, just a dangerous situation? What are you telling yourself to keep yourself calm?
We learn breathing techniques, of course. We do learn, especially because we wear a self-contained breathing apparatus, an SCBA is what we call it. That is an on-demand valve with air on our back, which means as we start to take a breath in, it releases the air, and then it closes when we don't actually take a breath. So when we're breathing out. So we have to learn how to use our energy and preserve the air that we have on our back when we're in a dangerous environment for that reason. So we learn different breathing techniques. We train all the time, working out at the station, doing training drills. We wear those. And so it's something that we are taught with breathing exercises. It's also something we're taught to look to our officer, right? Our officer is usually the most experienced person on the fire ground that's with us. And we look to them for instruction and guidance. And they give us an idea of, this is what we're going to do. So a lot of times on the way to the fire, they'll be reading the notes that dispatch is giving us. And the officer is thinking about his plan. He's thinking about his plan and he's talking to us. Hey, I'm reading that there's somebody trapped in the front bedroom. When we get there, I need you to grab the ladder. I need you to grab some tools. And we have a job to do. And we work as a team. So we prepare on the way. And then we get there, we adjust as things happen, right? Every situation is fluid. Things change.
Being flexible.
Being flexible, very important. But also too, remembering your training, looking to your officers, using your breathing techniques, and staying in shape and eating healthy. All of those things are really important to keeping calm on the fire ground.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a mindfulness class.
It is a mindfulness class. It's very important because most people don't prepare for those types of emergencies, and they usually what we call evacuate. We are going towards it. And so it's a very different mindset and a very different situation for us.
You know, that analogy is for sure, even in just living, you know, everything is just not quiet and like it is here in the park. I mean, we're always dealing with stressors.
Right.
We're always dealing with changes and transitioning. And even though inside, especially if it's our first time doing it, our natural response is to back away.
Correct.
You know, because
self-preservation is something that's instilled in us.
For sure.
You know.
And when I'm teaching mindfulness, I'm teaching to recognize what your body is doing when you want to flee or fight.
Right.
Because if you choose to flee or fight, which is a choice.
Correct. It absolutely
is
a choice.
When you slow it down and recognize that there's other options.
Correct.
And if I can conserve my energy and take a breath and feed my mind oxygen, then I can probably think of that other option, even if it's calling for help, rather than either fighting
Mm-hmm.
or fleeing or
Right.
not doing anything,
Right.
freezing.
And relying on muscle memory. Remember, we were just talking
Mumble,
about
yeah,
muscle
yeah.
memory is very important. So that's why we always want to prepare for emergencies ahead of time. Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay, so Dana, can you share a special time or a situation where being calm made a big difference in the outcome of a situation?
Sure, absolutely. I would say a lot. There are many times that we encounter major stress on the job, things that we're not really necessarily prepared for, something we've never seen before, an experience that gets dangerous very quickly. There's so many of those, but I'm going to share something that's extremely personal to me that actually changed the trajectory of my life in public service and got me into this amazing organization that I work with on a regular basis. So we made a 911 call, and this was probably about, I would say it's been 14 years now. We made a 911 call for a medical emergency. So it was the fire truck and the ambulance. So there were 6 of us there, and the fire truck got there first, and I was on the fire truck. And we get inside, and I recognize that this person is having a very dangerous medical emergency. But at the same time, I also see that they're wearing these very special garments and these very special tight clothing. And I look over to the family member and I said, what is she wearing? And they say to me, oh, she was burned in a fire, and those are compression garments that she's wearing over the areas of her body that were burned. Well, she was burned on a large portion of her body, and I needed to start an IV. I needed to give this person some medication. And so I'm kind of panicked at first, right? Because this is something new to me. I've never seen this before. I don't really know, like, oh, what's happening here? So I'm looking all over and I'm trying to figure out, can I move this garment? Can I, if I take this off of her, will it damage her area that she has been burned? Is it safe? Is it not safe? Saving her life is more important right now, right? But after looking her over fairly quickly, I found a spot in her foot where I could start an IV. So I went to her foot, I started the IV, and then I realized as a paramedic, I had only been taught how to handle a current burn survivor situation. As in, I got burned really badly and I'm calling 911 and I need help. I was never taught about aftercare for burns, never. So I didn't know what these compression garments were. I didn't know what any of the things were. Before we move on in that story, we gave her life-saving medication, and she is alive today. And I actually got to see her a year ago, and I got to tell her my experience. So after we left that 911 call, I went back to the fire station and I started researching, after burn care, burn compression garments. And I started learning about burn survivors, and I was like, this is amazing. I love this. And I got in contact with the Texas Burn Survivor Society and spoke to this amazing woman who helps run it. Her name is Sue Dodson. And she invited me to come out to Pediatric Burn Survivor Camp. And I have been going now every year. And I work with them every year, different times of the year, doing different things. And it completely changed my life. I adore that organization. I adore the children and the families that I've gotten to know that are burn survivors. And it's taught me a lot about life. And it really affected who I was as a person on that 911 call. But at that moment, going back to that moment where I thought, I've never seen this before, I'm not really sure I know what to do, I readjusted, leaned back on my training of figuring out unconventional areas where you can start an IV, like the foot, and just kind of moving through the situation. So again, that goes back to muscle memory, leaning on your education that you've been taught, and staying calm in a situation that is unexpected, right?
That occurrence happened 15 years ago?
14 years ago.
14
I was
years
brand new in the fire department. Now, mind you, I was a paramedic before I got in. So I had been a paramedic for 8 years before I got on before I got on with the San Antonio Fire Department. So I had some experience, but at that moment, I had never treated somebody that was a burn survivor. So again, another learning experience for me. But yes, this was 14 years ago.
And how did the patient respond to you when you got there?
She couldn't. She wasn't responsive.
She wasn't responsive.
Right. And so I never actually got to see her again until about a year ago, when our paths crossed again for a whole different reason. And I told her my story, and we both started crying. It was just the most amazing connection to tell her how she changed my life, and for her to say, "You were there, like you helped me." So it was just it was great. It was great.
Wow.
It was very fulfilling too. It's not usual that we get to see our patients again, and a lot of our patients do impact our life. As a firefighter paramedic, I can tell you that everybody I work with has a story about a patient that changed them, or made something for them that they'll never forget. So yeah, that was a really great experience as far as adapting, overcoming, learning, and then setting me on a different path of doing something amazing.
Wow, it fits into the gratitude part of mindfulness. To give your experience and your training to a person who couldn't give anything.
Right.
She was unable to give anything.
Right. And we don't ever expect anything in return. I think that's why we're called public servants, right? Because we serve the public without an idea that we're going to get something in return. Now, mind you, we do a job, right? We get paid, and we want those things too. You know, we want to get paid. This is our job, but we don't expect anything above and beyond from anybody that we help. We don't.
It's something about the action of gratitude that stimulates, like, the dopamine and the serotonin in our bodies.
Right.
And for this time of season, sometimes it's a sad time for some people.
It is, unfortunately.
And it's hard to say, is there to do an awareness assessment of ourselves, and are you able to give something, a smile,
right?
Right. A good word about yourself.
Yes. Well, even being nice to your own self.
Yes.
They've shown that just rewires the brain. It changes who you are as a person if you talk to yourself in a positive way instead of a negative way.
Yes.
I agree, 100%. Also, talking to other people the same way. And what you were saying about giving, there is more joy in giving than there is in receiving. So yeah, I agree with you absolutely. And we do get joy and peace out of helping people who need it. We really do.
What are some final words as we close our time together? Really enjoyed our time. What are some things you would like to leave our audience with from our time together about fire safety, holidays, and mindfulness?
Well, holidays are a big deal for everybody because we get together as family. One of the things, though, I do want to bring a little bit of awareness to during the holiday season is suicide. We know that a lot of people are sad and depressed during this time. And what we were just talking about being mindful about you as a person and your feelings and your emotions and all of those things. Therapy is super important for that type of stuff. As public servants, almost all of us seek therapy because of the things we see, some of the things we've experienced. And so just kind of reminding everybody during this holiday season, be thankful that you do have the people here that you do have, enjoy your time with them, but also to, always reach out for help if you need it. Don't ever, think that you're alone. There's always somebody out there that's going to help you. So with that being said, because that's more of a medical awareness for the holiday season, as far as fire safety and fire safety awareness, I would say prepare now, right? What we were just talking about. Prepare with your emergency escape plans, prepare with your safety in the kitchen, prepare with your fire extinguishers, talk to the family, maybe put some rules in place. I hate to be the damper, but, put some rules in place as people come over. Hey, no playing in the kitchen, always have somebody there to watch the stove while it's cooking, have some rules in place for when everybody comes over. And also smoke alarms. Smoke alarms. We know they save lives. There's no question about that. So get your smoke alarms installed now, before the high risk of a fire happening.
Can the fire department help put smoke alarms up? Is there service that people can call or something if you don't know?
So almost all fire departments have a smoke alarm program. You can call their non-emergency line and ask for smoke alarms. Or here in the city of San Antonio, if you live inside the city limits, you can call 211 and push option number 1 and tell them that you want to sign up for the smoke alarm program. You can also go to our website, firesafesa.com, and you can fill out the form there and request for the smoke alarms. We will come to your home. We will put them in for free.
Wow.
I know, it's a great program.
That's a great program.
It is. It's amazing. And like I said, we know it saves lives. We know smoke alarms save lives. So yes, we absolutely want you to call and we'll call and schedule a time and we'll come do it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow. This a little personal thing. During this season, this is the anniversary of my mother's death.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, there's no need, because, when as far as training, she always told us what she wanted and how she wanted things done. And so it's a good feeling that we did her wishes, and when she was alive, at that time, it was a lot of suffering.
I'm sorry.
It was a lot of suffering. And so it just seems like during this season when she passed on, it was a gratitude type of experience that she could never suffer anymore.
Correct.
And that she went to a place beyond this, whatever your belief is, she's not suffering in that body anymore.
That's correct.
And so for us, for my family, it's like, wow, it's another year that we remember her with love and appreciation and all the wonderful memories, and I share that because if you're going through a situation and you're missing someone and it's very sad in your heart, may I also invite you to bring in memories of the times that you enjoyed, and those are gifts that you can have for many, many years. That's just a little...
No, you're absolutely right. That's why I was saying during this time, reaching out, speaking to people, asking for help, going to therapy, because rewiring the mind to think on the positive things, it makes a huge difference.
And call for help.
And call for help. Yeah. And this is a tough time of year. You and your family have accepted this. You now think about all the joyful, wonderful times that you had with your mom, and that's amazing. That's great. Like, those memories, no one can take those memories from you.
Right.
So yes, I agree. Always reach out if there's something that's...
The hotline for suicide, if someone needs help, is 911, or is there another number?
So 911 is more for a crisis. And we actually have a core team that my husband's working on today. We have a core team. It's a paramedic firefighter, a police officer, and a health clinician. And if you call 911 because you are having an immediate crisis, they will come out and they will work with you and find you what resource you need. A lot of times they'll take you to the hospital, to the ER if you need an emergency detention, or sometimes they'll suggest taking you to places like Laurel Ridge where they help you with your mental health, and it's not an emergency, those types of things. But we have those teams here in San Antonio specifically for mental health, and it's amazing. It's a great program. So if it is an immediate crisis, 911 can. However, there is a suicide hotline.
Okay, so it's a national number.
Correct.
Everywhere. Okay, that's important.
Yes, very important.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dana, it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. And
I love this. This is great.
So great.
Sharing information and communicating is super important, right? We know that that's one of the breakdowns of society is when we don't communicate and we don't share our information. So, fire safety, suicide awareness, being prepared for emergencies, all of that sort of stuff is very important, especially this time of year, like what you were saying. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It was an honor to have firefighter Dana Williams on my show today. Thank you so much to the San Antonio Fire Department for freeing up firefighter Dana's schedule to come on out today and share some very important and life-saving information. Thank you to all my podcast listeners, and I hope that you have a safe and wonderful holiday, and I'll talk to you again next time. Have a great day.